Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel. Katja here. You may have noticed some new development, which is Translated Fiction Tuesday. Now, I've always been bringing you translated and global literature, but I thought, let me do it in a more structured way. And today we are checking out the latest translated and global fiction releases that are coming up in August, and I'm super excited about it. Now, some of these are fresh translations, so they've been about in their country of origin, and now they're finally here for us to enjoy in English. And some of them are actually from authors from around the globe, but written originally in English. So original works from authors around the globe. So I've split the video into those two categories. It's also worth saying that for some of the translated fiction, these are the very first editions that are out in English. So it's an English language debut. But for one or two, they're just a newer, revised, refreshed edition of classics and modern classics. And I'll highlight when that's the case. So let's jump in. First up, we have The Black Orb, out on August 1st from Ewhan Kim. And this is the first of his books to be translated into English. And I'm super excited to come across a new Korean author to enjoy in English. We follow Jung-soo as he tries to outrun a mysterious black orb that consumes everything in its path. The write-up describes it in a way that suggests this is going to be absurdist and thrilling. So I can't wait to see how it actually plays out. It sounds wonderfully out there. Then we have Mammoth by Eva Baltasar hitting our shelves on August 6th. This book explores themes of queerness and motherhood through the eyes of a disenchanted young woman. It is actually the third novel in a triptych, following Permafrost and Boulder, both of which received critical acclaim, and in fact Boulder was even shortlisted for the International Booker Prize 2023. Now, Baltasar's unique style delves deep into social despair and personal exploration, and it sounds absolutely mesmerizing and just so intriguing. And I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have actually read Baltasar's writing before. What do you think? Then we have Elevator in Saigon by Thuận, and this book is out on August 8th. It is still banned in Vietnam, and it's in good company. I looked it up to see what other books are banned in Vietnam at the moment, and Orwell's 1984 and Animal Farm are on the list. But Elevator in Saigon is on there. It is a book about a Vietnamese woman who returns to Saigon for her estranged mother's funeral and unexpectedly uncovers family secrets. Now, it combines detective story, historical romance, and post-colonial ghost story. So I think it sounds wonderful. I did really take ages to finish Chinatown by Thuận. And I would say that the writing is really thought-provoking and introspective. It has an almost fever dream-like quality to it, but never quite to the extent of like Clarice Lispector. So I've got a feel for what her writing's like, but I am super interested to see what this book is going to be like. It sounds like a critical commentary on life in a communist state, as well as looking at all of the complexity of family dynamics. Yeah. So then we have, you can tell I'm so excited. We have the book Against Death. And this is out on August 13th by Elias Canetti. Now, Canetti is actually an author who passed away in 1994, German language author, born in Bulgaria, got a very varied history. But anyway, was a novelist, playwright, and memoirist. I think in 1938 had to leave Germany for safety and come to the UK to escape the Nazis. So really fascinating writer, very introspective, and someone who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1981. So this collection offers a powerful affirmation of life through reflections on death, and it's definitely going to knock some of the books on my TBR off the top 10 position for what I'm reading next, because it just sounds so wonderfully reflective and introspective as well as hopeful. Then we have Holy Winter 2020, no, Holy Winter 2021 by Maria Stepanova. And this is dropping on August 13th, set against the COVID lockdowns in 2020 and 2021. The author had to cut short her studies in Cambridge and spent her time in Russia, and ended up reflecting on a number of things, resulting in this book-length poem about winter, war, isolation, and the slow thawing of frozen time. So Stepanova's writing will interweave love letters, travel logs, Chinese verse, and Dutch fairy tales into a polyphonic remembrance of those times. And I'm excited to dive into this one, which I didn't think a while back that I would be interested in people's experiences about lockdowns. I mean, I experienced it. I went through it, so why would I want to read about it? But then I read The Vulnerables a week after its release, and obviously very much set in the time of COVID, with reflections of a writer on that time, and I loved it. So I am definitely down for this one and very open-minded. On August 15th, expect Silken Gazelles by Jokha Alharthi, the first Arabic language winner of the Booker International Prize for her previous work, Celestial Bodies. Now, Silken Gazelles tells the story of Ghazala and her search for love and identity after a tragic childhood separation from her best friend. So it explores the impact of the bonds of friendship and also patriarchy. Have any of you read Celestial Bodies? That's what I'm wondering about, because I was really surprised that I hadn't had that one on my radar. So I've definitely now added both of them onto my TBR. But if you've read Celestial Bodies, let me know. I'm curious to hear what you thought. Also on August 15th, we have a new edition of a well-known story, Kokoro by Natsume Soseki, the last written book by the author before his death in 1916. It's set in the seaside city of Kamakura and follows the relationship between a student and his enigmatic sensei against the backdrop of Japan's rapid modernization. And I've put this one on my list as I've yet to read Soseki. And I feel really that it's overdue, so this is the perfect opportunity for me to begin. Then we have Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Ogawa, and I love Ogawa's work. This is out also on August 15th, clearly a popular date for publishers. I think it's the third one I've mentioned that's out on the 15th. And Mina's Matchbox is set in 1970s Japan. We follow 12-year-old Tomoko, who after her father's death, moves into her uncle's mysterious mansion, and as she grows closer to her cousin Mina, Tomoko's understanding of her family and the adult world deepens. Now, I'm a fan of Ogawa, whether we're thinking of her cozy The Housekeeper and the Professor, or her darker, disturbing Hotel Iris. Disturbing for me. I was like, what? This is nothing like The Housekeeper and the Professor. And this is why you shouldn't pigeonhole authors to think, okay, well, I like this, and they're going to write in that same style throughout. But anyway, that's a digression. I just think Ogawa's work is always rich and evocative, whichever tone she goes for, dark or cozy. Then we go with The Time of the Flies by Claudia Pinheiro. And if you're familiar with this channel, you'll know that I'd be super excited about this coming out on August 20th, because this Argentinian author just wowed me with her fabulous novel, Elena Knows. And now we've got something new, and it sounds amazing. In this book, we are following Inez, who has served 15 years after a crime of passion, and she's now out, starts a pest control and private investigation business with her friend Banka. So very innovative. Businesses for Women by Women. All sounds great and positive until one of her clients wants a service that's not advertised and is somewhat darker than you would expect. Will Inez use her criminal past to help the woman get what she wants, revenge, or is she not going to do that? It promises to be dark, intelligent, and wonderfully suspenseful. So this is a definite read for me, and it's not only going into my top 10, it's right at the top. Once it's out on the 20th, that's what I'm reading. On August 29th, we have a story based on a Japanese myth with Mai Mochizuki's The Full Moon Coffee Shop, about an enigmatic coffee shop run by talking cats, blending astrology, baking, and the aforementioned cats. It is based on the Japanese myth of cats returning favors to humans who are kind to them. It sounds uplifting, and I love the idea of the cafe having no fixed location and instead materializing unpredictably on the night of a full moon. Speaking of which, I checked if the release date is a full moon date, and that's just how my mind works, and I was so hopeful. I don't know why I build this up in my mind, but anyway, I'm sorry to say it isn't, and so slightly disappointed, but why? Anyway, the full moon in the UK is on the 19th, if you're curious. Still, full moon above or not, who can resist a story with talking cats and life-changing advice? Not me. Then, on the same day of our feline friends sharing their life-changing advice, that's August 29th, we have a totally different story, Korean fiction, a set of overlapping individual tales, well, not tales, but personal stories, set in the Yunnam-dong Smiley Laundromat, where ordinary residents start to find a sense of belonging and community, all thanks to a notebook that is left in that laundromat. And I love stories that bring communities together. And I won't say more than that, because unlike the other books that I've talked about so far, I have actually read this one because I had an advanced reader copy. Next, we have The Lantern of Lost Memories by Sanaka Hiragi, out on August 22nd. This is a Japanese author who's writing in English and uses Japanese mythology. The tale centers on a cozy photographic studio nestled in the mountains between this world and the next. It's a place that helps people revive their lost memories and explore the moments that shaped them. So I think this book has a potential to be one of those cozy reads that's also a real tearjerker. It's giving me Before the Coffee Gets Cold and What You Seek in the Library vibes. And that's good because I really love those books. And then a week later, on the 29th, we've got Norman Erickson Passaribu's My Dream Job. And this is Passaribu's first work, originally written in English following their acclaimed collections Happy Stories Mostly and Sergius Seeks Bacchus, which were translated from Indonesian by Tiffany Tsao. Now, this poetry collection intertwines English and Toba Batak languages, Christian and Batak mythology, and reflects on colonial violence, both past and present, described as a lyrical defiance of queerphobia, racism, and hypercapitalism, with palpable moments of tenderness. These are just a few of the incredible translated and global fiction releases hitting the shelves this August. So let me know if some of these are new to you. Yay. And also let me know if I've missed any. Let me know if you're excited to read any of these. I really hope so. I feel like there can't be like none that you're interested in. Of course there can be, but I really hope that's not the case. It feels like there should be something for everyone on here. I'll be back with more translated fiction news in my next week video, next Tuesday, Women in Translation Month. I'll be sharing what I'm reading. In the meantime, for Women in Translation, I have been updating my community tab with reads that I loved from previous Women in Translation readathons. So these are the ones that I highly recommend from having experienced them during previous years' readathons. So that's it before I waffle, because I can feel the waffle coming on. Thanks for joining me. Happy reading, and I'll see you next time.